When working with prefabs in Unity, even if you're an expert user, it's common to make mistakes that can affect your productivity. In particular, it's easy to produce overrides in the scene by mistake, which can alter the functionality of the game. And if someone applies those overrides, now the change is propagated to every scene that uses the prefab. Let's say that I want to make a new prefab for one of the food items I need to have in this sushi restaurant. I use a pre-existing plate and drop a few steamed buns, parent, rename, and then create a prefab variant. Great. Now let's position this dish here on this table. So far so good. However, later on, I decide to create a specific situation by placing one of the dumplings on the counter. Nice. But then, someone later on has the bright idea of selecting Apply All on this instance. Oh no. Now all of the instances have this stray dumpling. And who has to fix it? Me. Well, luckily this is an easy one. But it's very possible that a mistake like this goes unnoticed for a while, or even slips into release. Plus, a workflow like this creates a very messy hierarchy, with prefabs that continue to expand as I click around, and I constantly have to close them back on. That's why I've created BlackBox. Let me show you how it works. Let's try this on the nigiri dish. Step 1 to improving the workflow, adding the BlackBox component. And just by doing so, the prefab now appears as one object in the scene. No mess, no involuntary changes to it. The child objects are obviously still there, and you can access them by going into prefab mode. You can even unlock it, so you can see the objects again. We can now add the component to all our complex prefabs, or for next time, we can go into project settings and turn on auto add, so we don't even have to think about it, like this. Now, whenever I create a new prefab, it's already locked. Look at this tidy hierarchy now. However, like we saw with the dumpling dish, sometimes we do want to have overrides. So how do we tweak properties on a locked prefab? Let's take this table and chairs as an example. I prepared it with 4 chairs, but sometimes I just want to be able to disable 2 of them. And there's nothing easier. I can go into prefab mode, click show available properties, and from here I can see all of the properties that I can reveal in the scene for the purpose of being overridden. I can reveal is active like this, and the properties appear in this list in the component. Or I can even go directly to the object, right click on one of these properties and choose reveal on BlackBox. Once I have them revealed, I can even rename the properties, so it becomes more clear what they represent. Now I can go back into the scene and the properties are there, ready to be tweaked. I can perform all of the usual prefab operations, including revert and apply. And this is because these are not properties of the BlackBox component, but they are connected to the original property on the original object. In fact, opening the overrides dropdown shows just that. The data is where I expect it to be, and so any script that was relying on it will not break. Et voila! With these properties exposed, I can now configure these tables just as I want, without any property or child object in the way, minimizing the possibility of mistakes. And now the final touch. While revealing properties is great, it still opens up the possibility that someone might create overrides and then apply them by mistake. So to prevent that, you can mark any BlackBox prefab as disable apply. This does 2 things. First, it disables the overrides dropdown completely. And second, when you right-click on a property, it allows to revert, but it doesn't allow to apply. This way, anyone can use this prefab, instantiate it and create overrides, but nobody can mess with the original asset. This was just a quick tour on the safe workflows that BlackBox can offer, and it does at no performance cost because the component is automatically stripped during the build, so BlackBox has no impact on your game. I hope you enjoyed this video and you will consider grabbing BlackBox on the Asset Store. See you next time!